and welcome to The Downsides. This is our channel where we talk about all things GLP-1 weight loss related. If you're new here, my name's Laraine Durham, and this is my husband.
And I'm Christopher Durham.
We've been married for 21 years, and in the last 13 months, we have lost weight on GLP-1 medications. I have lost 50 pounds on compounded tirzepatide, which is also known as Mounjaro and Zepbound. And Christopher Durham.
I've lost 81 pounds using a combination of compounded tirzepatide, Mounjaro, and Zepbound.
Yeah, so this is our weekly weigh-in where we talk to you about how our week went, what we're doing, what's going on in our life.
What the scale says.
What the scale said, exactly. But before we get to our weekly progress, let me just remind you that we're not doctors. We are not healthcare professionals. There is no medical knowledge here between us. We just have some real life experience, but please, before starting any weight loss plan or exercise plan, talk to your doctor or healthcare professional. Yep.
And while you're at it, please take a moment and hit that like and subscribe button. Make sure you turn on the bell so you get alerted every time we publish a video. The last few months, we've been publishing every day, so we have lots of cool stuff to talk about, whether it be what's going on in the news, our personal lives, questions you have. There's always a new video every day, so make sure you catch it.
Yeah, a lot of people like to listen to us while they're on the treadmill.
I have heard that, yeah.
I saw that on a comment on one of our videos. We do read all the comments, so please leave us a comment if you want. It helps the YouTube
gods,
algorithm, mystic forces guide people that are looking for information on GLP-1s to our channel. And just to reiterate, GLP-1s are drugs like Ozempic, Wegovy. Those are both semaglutide. And then we've got the tirzepatide that I take that is also the same as Mounjaro and Zepbound. And there's also some other ones out there like Trulicity and Rybelsus.
Semaglutide and
some other ones.
If you watch our weekly news report, which comes out on Monday, we may talk about retatrutide. There's all kinds of fun stuff.
So yeah, there's a lot of these medications that are being tested now in the pipeline because this is a billions.
Hundreds of billions
dollar industry. Everyone is racing to grab a piece of this GLP-1 pie.
The gold rush that is GLP-1.
Yeah.
All right, so let's do the weekly weigh-in. Talk about the scales.
Why don't you go first?
Oh, I don't think I've ever gone first.
I don't think you ever have. Today I will let you go first.
I get to go first? Well, that's exciting. I started out September of last year at 286.5 pounds. We'll flash up a before picture so you can see that as well. I am currently at 81.6 pounds down, which puts me at 203.8. So for those of you following along, that's exactly the same weight I was last week.
Oh, spoiler alert.
Exactly the same weight I was last week. In fact, I weighed myself twice because I was like, there's no way I'm exactly the same thing. We'll talk a little bit about what's been going on this week. But we traveled. We were at a conference. We put on a conference for our real life business. There was a lot of food, so I was expected to be up a little bit, but I was not. I was exactly flat. I am in my, I think, 14th week on 15 milligram compounded tirzepatide. Actually, this week was compounded tirzepatide from Makita. We use Mochi Health, but I also have Zepbound pens in the refrigerator that I occasionally take as well. I've been stocking up just to make sure we have what we need.
Yeah. We've got a lot of our refrigerator. I think the drugs inside our refrigerator are worth more than our actual refrigerator.
Oh, for sure. No question about it.
At this point.
That's a 25-year-old refrigerator, though.
Yeah, that's our garage refrigerator. That's an old one.
That one just keeps ticking.
Yeah. All right. So is it time for me to tell my progress?
It is.
Okay. How did I do this week? All right. My starting weight was 193 pounds. I am 5'4". I'm 55 years old. I have 3 kids. They are 18, 20, and 26. Started at 193 pounds. My current weight is 143.4, so that's down 49.6. So for those of you who have heard me say, I've lost over 50 pounds, I was up 0.4 this week. I've been bobbling around that 50-pound mark. And you might also be wondering, well, how long did it take you to lose those 50 pounds, Laraine? Let me just tell you.
Sometimes she has conversations with herself just like that.
Exactly. All right. We started at the same time, September 29th of 2023. I hit my first goal of 150 pounds. That was my original goal weight on April 19th. So that was 27 weeks. So it took me 27 weeks to go from 193 to 150. And I lost at a rate of 1.58 pounds per week. And you might think, oh, that's super slow. But actually, it was a very consistent downward trend every week that I'd never gotten on any other diet or weight loss plan before. And I'm a big, long-time Weight Watchers member. Never got to my goal weight on Weight Watchers, but I went to Weight Watchers for a long time. And something else I thought was interesting that I haven't really touched on before was, okay, so I hit that first goal of 150 pounds on April 19th. And then I just hung out there for a while. And then I said, you know what? I'd really like to say I lost 50 pounds. That means I need to get to 143. On July 19th, so 3 months later, just about, I hit 143 pounds. I hit my goal weight of 143, my new goal weight.
Your second goal
My
weight.
second goal weight of 143 pounds, down 50 pounds down. That took me 39 weeks. From week 27 to week 39, I lost 7 pounds, which seems like a long time. It was 12 weeks. And I lost less than a pound a week. I lost 7 pounds.
But you weren't trying that hard,
and I wasn't
right?
really trying. And I had been dropping down my dosage every month. So I got all the way up to 12.5. I hit 12.5 milligram dosage in that week 27. And I hit my first goal. So I said, well, I'm going to drop back down. I dropped down and did 10 milligrams for a couple months. And then I dropped to 7.5 for a month. And then I went to 5. And I said, oh, 5's too low. I feel hungry. Went back to 7.5. So right now I'm doing 7.5. And actually today should be my shot day. But I'm not taking my shot today. But I have a very good reason for that. And no, it's not because we're going on vacation. And no, it's not because I want to eat more food. It's because I've got a colonoscopy scheduled for November the 6th, I believe. So I'll skip my shot today. I'll skip my shot a week from today. And then I have my colonoscopy.
And you're actually skipping more than your doctor requested, correct?
My doctor said, I got written paperwork from my doctor that said to be off of tirzepatide for 7 days before. So technically I'm skipping 2 shots. Technically, by his advice, I could only skip 1. But I'm just I've heard some colonoscopy stories from other people who are on GLP-1s. I just want to make sure I have the best experience possible. And since I'm in maintenance, I think it's okay to skip these 2 shots. And then maybe after the colonoscopy, maybe I'll start back on a 5 milligram shot and see how that does.
But to be clear, not doctors. She's just making
this up.
Not doctors.
I just
nobody asked her to skip an extra shot.
I just decided to do an extra 2 weeks. So
and there's no research that says you need to either.
7 days. I'm going to be off 14 days. So, and it'll be interesting for me to see like how my eating goes, because this week my eating was not. It was not great. We were traveling. We
That's
were
not
away
true.
from
You
home.
did fine.
Now, I was only up, 0.4? Like, who cares? That's like flat. No, I mean, that's.
And we were flying. I don't know why you say it wasn't great.
Well, I kind of just think about my eating yesterday and the past couple of days since we've been home. I actually did better, I think, when we were traveling.
Yeah.
I got home.
Yesterday we'll talk about that, but there weren't a lot of great choices. So
sometimes you're in a place where there's just not a lot of good options, and it's like, well, do I not eat anything, or do I eat something and then maybe make a better choice the meal after that? So,
and if you're only at 0.4, it doesn't matter. Honestly, that's a rounding error. That scale could be off that much.
Right. So. I mean, yeah, no, I'm fine with it. And it's, I guess in years past at Weight Watchers weigh-ins, I would be traumatized to be up a half a pound or a pound because it was so freaking hard to lose any weight at all. And then to go backwards was just
Do you feel like you
terrible.
figured out what the natural fluctuation of your body is week to week that shouldn't be terrible?
I mean, I've been staying within about a 2 pound range. So I've been
Hmm.
going anywhere between 142 and 144. 142, 144. I'm fine with that. Would I like to be in the 130s? My mochi doctor thinks I should be in the 130s, and maybe I should since I'm now 5'4". I'm not going to really shoot for that until probably after the holidays because I'm just trying, I've never, when we started last year, I'd never been through a holiday season and lost weight. But actually, last year, when we started at the end of September, I lost weight all through Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. We lost weight all the way through. And to me, that was just truly
No,
miraculous.
not a lot of weight. So don't.
I probably lost 10 or 15 pounds, where before I would have easily gained 10 pounds in that
Mhm.
time frame. So I'm going to see this year how I feel and just try to maintain through the holidays.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's my story.
To give you a little more detail on me, I'm 56 years old, so I'm a few months older than Laraine.
He's much older.
A few months older. Some part of the year we're the same age.
He's 6 months older. Much older.
Yeah. We've been married 21, going on 22 years. Is that right?
Well, it'll be 22 in March, and this month it's October.
So going on 22 years. Feels like 50.
Feels like a million. No, just
No,
kidding.
it doesn't.
Just kidding.
My goal weight is 190 pounds.
And you picked that goal weight how?
I worked with my local physician,
Mm-hmm.
and we looked at a bunch of charts and had a bunch of conversations, and honestly just came to it between the two of us.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little bit more than I weighed when I was a senior in high school. I weighed 186 pounds when I was a senior in high
I
school.
think I weighed 220 as a
It's the
senior in
lowest
high
weight I
school.
remember being as a full-size human being.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was at my full height then.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 5'10" and a half, just because everybody wants to know all the measurements. Then, are you the same height and all that stuff as I am?
Mm-hmm.
So I may go for a little more than 190 just because I don't think that'll quite put me to 100 pounds down. And I would kind of like to be 100 pounds down just to say that.
So you'd have to be 186 to be 100
Yep.
pounds down.
Which would be, yeah, I can't imagine. But I'm basically 13.8 pounds away from goal weight.
Seems like you've been bobbling around that 80-pound mark now for a while.
No, I mean, it's been slow for sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. But we've had a bunch of stuff going on. And
Mm-hmm.
anytime people are like, you're in a stall, I'm like, I'm not really in a stall. If I haven't lost weight, I can look at the week and tell you why I didn't lose weight. It's not that the medication wasn't working. It was that I was traveling and we had a great pizza. There was reasons for it. So
Mm-hmm.
it's also part of life. I'm okay with that. I mean, I say this, I kind of feel like, although I want my goal to be 190, at this point, it's maintenance with a little downslope.
Yeah.
So as long as I can maintain, because I feel good. I don't,
Mm-hmm.
I can go up and down steps. I feel healthy. We're testing being off the blood pressure medicine right now, taking my blood pressure every day. So I haven't taken a blood pressure medicine pill in a couple days now, and it's maintaining very well. So
Mm-hmm.
no complaints. I feel good. Would I like to be below 200? Absolutely. I really want to do it before Thanksgiving, so we'll see. I've got 3.8, really 4 pounds to get below.
What's today's date? We didn't say the date.
October 20,
Sunday,
whatever.
October the 27th.
Yeah.
So you got a month
Yeah.
to be below 180.
Yeah.
So that's
4 pounds, basically.
4 pounds.
Yeah. So it's possible. It's not. And we don't have any kids here right now, so that makes it a little easier to eat.
No, we don't.
Anyway, so that's where we are in our weight. Just kind of moving along.
Yeah, just kind of moving along. I guess we can talk about what we did this week.
Yeah, what did we do this week?
So on Monday we flew to Arizona. We put on a conference for our business, Velocity Institute. If you really care what we do, you can Google.
Somebody asked.
Velocity.
They were like, "What do you guys do?"
It's a very specific, very segmented thing, but yeah, it's called Velocity Institute, and we do conferences. He and I put on the conferences. He gets the speakers, I run the back end, and we put these conferences on.
And so we are basically a trade association for what's called the private brand industry. If you shop at Walmart and you buy Great Value,
That's a private
that's a
brand.
private brand that Walmart owns. So in this case, Walmart spoke at the conference. And then the manufacturers who make those products and the
Service
agencies who
provider.
design the packaging and everything that goes around that whole world is what we do. But it's not just grocery. So it might be Husky Tools at Home Depot. It might be
Blue Hawk at Lowe's. It
yeah,
might be One Plus Other at CVS
yeah,
drugstores. So
or Kirkland Signature at Costco.
yeah,
But basically any brand owned by a retailer
all the people who work with
and all
those
that industry is
work on
who
those
we talk
things.
to. So in this case, this was actually a sustainability event around that where we talk to the retailers. And sustainability in their case is mostly how can we make a better, healthier product in smaller packaging with better materials and be more efficient. So it was an interesting conversation.
Yeah, so it was a 2-day conference, and I get to pick out all the food that we
Mm-hmm.
so that's kind of fun. So I get to go through the menus and pick the things, and it's always a challenge to pick food that everyone's going to like, or
Yeah, because you have 100 plus
dietary.
people there. So
Yeah, so we had about 100 people. So because we're in Arizona, we like to stick to the theme of the location. So we did Mexican breakfast and lunches both days. I think the second day lunch wasn't particularly
no, it wasn't.
Mexican,
But it was good.
I thought the food was good. We had it at a Hyatt. Yeah, so we did that this week. Then we flew home on Thursday, and then
And it's a 5-hour flight each way for us from Charlotte to Phoenix. So
yeah, it was a long flight. I read 2 books. One of them's called The Graveyard Boy, and one of them's called First Lie Wins. Both good books. The Graveyard Boy one was for book club. So we came back on Thursday night. I went to my book club and had a glass of wine. I had a few snacks. No big deal. And then on Saturday, we went to Boone, North Carolina for Appalachian State football game.
just where my oldest daughter goes to college.
Which is where our older daughter goes to college. So we got there and we were running a little bit late. And so by the time we found parking and got into the stadium, the game started at 1. I had a Greek yogurt for breakfast. I don't think you had any breakfast because you usually don't eat breakfast. So we got situated with my daughter at the stadium, and it was about 1:30, and I'm like, okay, I need some food now. So let's look at these stadium options. So now keep in mind, I went to Clemson University, and it's a massive 80,000 person stadium. So in my mind, all college football stadiums are that big. That is not correct.
Now, what's interesting is Appalachian State is actually a bigger school than Clemson.
They have more students.
However, it operates as kind of a small, I think
it's just recently passed.
It's only recent, well, in the last few years. But
they haven't caught up to themselves.
I think
yet.
that stadium seats maybe 20,000 people, so it's much smaller.
There might be bigger high school.
This was the first game they had played back in their stadium since Hurricane Helene hit, and basically that entire town was underwater 6 to 9 feet. So this was a big thing, and they kind of came back in.
And we went to NC State a few weeks ago for our other daughter for Parents Weekend, and NC State, it's about the same size stadium, maybe a little bit bigger as App State.
About twice as big. Yeah.
They're all smaller than Clemson, so to me, they're all little. But at NC State, there were lots of food choices and lots of beverage stations and lots of things. And at App State, on the side of the stadium we were on, there was only hot dogs or pizza.
Or nachos. Like canned squirt nachos, which, hey.
And I just had I didn't want more. I didn't want pizza. And I don't like hot dogs. And those nachos are gross. So if you
walked, those old school canned hot nachos, those are delicious.
The fake
cheese. Just salt and food coloring.
Yeah, that's not my thing. You could walk around behind the end zone of the stadium, and there were some food trucks. One was a pizza food truck. One was a subs food truck, like East Coast Subs or Penn Station Subs or something. And the other one was burger and fry. So we said, well, let's get in line for one of those. So it wasn't just one line. It wasn't 2 lines or 3 lines. It was basically like one line, and it was all merging together, and they went really slow. Anyway, we ended up with a Philly steak and cheese sub and fries.
I wasn't there. They
We
got
picked for him.
Yeah.
He just said anything but pizza.
Mhm.
So we came back and we ate them at our seats, and it just kind of
It was fine, but
sat. I just didn't. It wasn't. I don't know. It was fine, but I just, sometimes how you eat something and it wasn't that good, and you think, gosh, I wish I had those calories back, but then it's too late because you already ate it. The fries, however, were delicious. And then after the game was over, we went into downtown Boone and we ate at a little cafe for dinner, and I had a grilled cheese sandwich and some tomato soup.
Which is fine. That place was
fine.
A lot of vegan-y kind of things.
Yeah.
So that was a little more healthy. It was fine.
Yeah, so that was fine, but
I don't know.
So it was that, I don't know, that sub just kind of like, ugh.
Well, so let's go back to Phoenix, because I feel like you kind of skipped over Phoenix for some reason. It was a 5-hour flight there, which was, honestly, I didn't quite realize. And I did academically know, it just didn't occur to me that it was 5 hours. But we landed. Phoenix is a beautiful city. And you land, and it's kind of this otherworldly place.
There's
with
no
the
grass.
desert, and it's very different than Charlotte. But it's different and beautiful. And we got there and set up all of our stuff for the conference, and that was a good bit of work. And then we went and I got pizza, because this is where the foodie in me, right? And I don't ever call myself a foodie, but was like, Phoenix, Arizona happens to have the best pizza place in America there by every standard. This chef named Chris Bianca was actually on Chef's Table. If any of you watch Chef's Table, there's just this beautiful documentary TV series. So we finished up and go over there, and they don't take reservations or anything. So it's like an hour and a half wait. We sat in this little house there next door with a bar and had a drink and that sort of thing. And then had pizza. This was amazing.
I mean, it was good. It was
delicious.
A brick oven pizza. So
well, it was a Neapolitan style, but I mean, when people talk about junk food, they talk about junk food because honestly, it starts from junk ingredients, and this clearly did not. This had the best Italian flour, the best Italian tomatoes, and it's not like they were giant New York style pizzas. They were small.
Like a personal.
Like a little, plate-sized Neapolitan. They were just beautifully done, really delicious pizzas. And mine came out, and I'm like eating away in it, and this girl comes walking up, and she's like, "Oh, we thought yours was a little dark, so we brought you another one." I'm like, I can't eat the whole one of the one I have, and I really want to. Like, the food noise that wants to scream at me says, "Eat the rest of the pizza," and I can't do it. Just like we took pizza back to our hotel room that we didn't eat.
Yeah.
Forgot all about, but so I have a whole other pizza. I'm like, holy cow, this is so much.
Yeah. Well, and in the hour and a half that we had to wait to be seated, of course, I'm starving because it's like, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock.
Well, it's a 3-hour time difference. It was really late for us.
Yeah, I was just all out of whack. So we got, I think the only snacks they had at the bar was what they called a trail mix.
Which was nuts and dried cranberries.
Basically like
walnuts. Pecans and
and
there was no walnuts
bread with oil.
Yeah, but it wasn't even very much bread.
It wasn't even very much, but it was just like.
Anyway, I'll tell you, we didn't eat that much, honestly. It wasn't that big a deal. And the food was really, really nice. And then the hotel it's a Hyatt Regency in downtown Phoenix. And with hotel food, you just never know what you're going to get. It could be great. It could be terrible. The entire team there had been and worked in that hotel they'd be like, I've been here for 20 years, and I've been here for 30 years.
I've been here for 34 years. I'm like, why are you guys?
And they were selling very regionally themed meals.
Yeah.
So we bought them because I love all that stuff. And they were and the guy who was our head guy was serving up. And Laraine comes over. She's like, "Did you try this pozole? This soup is really good." And it's like, a chicken soup with corn and tomatilla.
It was green.
It had tomatilla in it, but there was nothing unhealthy about it whatsoever. It was just delicious.
It was delicious.
So we just went through that. The conference went very well. And then she drags me across Phoenix. And where we go?
We went to the Desert Botanical Garden, which is right outside of Phoenix. And it's basically, now you might think botanical garden, like that's where old people go and walk around. And there were quite a lot of elderly people doing just that.
That
but
is true.
this place had so many, it was all the desert plants, which I don't know from desert plants. I know
from cowboy movies. That's all I know.
Yeah, you see the cactus in the desert and you think, oh, these cactus, they had the world's largest cactus growing in there that was like 60 feet tall or
It was
something.
huge.
Giant cactus, all these beautiful plants, all these desert flowers, like just, I'd never seen any of that up close before. And against the landscape of Phoenix, where there's mountains around Phoenix, but they're not like the mountains of North Carolina that have trees on them and are green. It's like just a rock.
Yeah.
It's like somebody just took a giant red rock and put them around the put them around the city. And occasionally you'd see a cactus growing out of the rock. And you'd be like, how did that?
It's an amazing, beautiful space that looks like another planet.
It looks like, and I even saw some bumper stickers that said, "We live on Mars" or something. Yeah. It's just so different than the landscape we have here in North Carolina. But we walked around and there was a butterfly garden. So we got to go in and they had an enclosure where butterflies were all. They had 1,000
butterflies in this enclosure.
Yeah, one of them landed on Christopher's shoe, and they liked things that were red. He had his red Converse on that day. We did and they told you at the beginning of the walk, they're like, make sure you have sunscreen and water. And I'm like, oh, I don't really have sunscreen, but here's a vending machine with water. So I got us waters and we drank it because it was hot. It was about 90 degrees.
It got a little crispy.
And there's no humidity in Phoenix. It's just like you're in a dry sauna.
So it was tolerable, but it was,
And then after a while, it's like, this is really hot. So we stopped and had a drink after that and then went back to the hotel. But I was glad we got to see something. Sometimes we go to these places and we don't really get to look around or see what's there, but I enjoy touring.
It's a beautiful place. It looks like it'd be a good place to hang out for.
Yeah, I mean, I could see why people would want to live there. And they had said, oh, good thing you came this week because last week it was really hot. I was like, how hot was it last week? I guess it had been over 100, 105 like last week. I don't know how do people even want to live there? Like, how do people get there?
Every place has its charms.
People live there. Yeah, it's very hot. So, yeah.
So that's that. And then in the midst of the conference, there were several big news events that happened. The FDA released some information on compounding, and Novo Nordisk solicited the FDA to add semaglutide onto the difficult to compound list. So we also went live 2 mornings from our hotel in Phoenix, which you guys seem to love. I think the second morning there was 100 people on there chatting with us. And it doesn't ever stop. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I mean, the compounding news just was enough to make you want to pull your hair out pretty much on a daily basis. So I've just decided I'm not going to get upset about it anymore. I'm just going to keep reordering from Mochi until Mochi tells me they cannot fill my reorders.
Well, and a couple of people said, well, how are you stockpiling stuff? So we have a couple of different strategies on this. First of all, if you're working with a compounder, very closely figure out what their timelines are and how quickly you can reorder, and reorder as quickly as they will let you.
Yeah. Sometimes you can do it 3 weeks apart. Sometimes you can do it 2 weeks apart. And now it's taken, from Mochi, with my last reorder, it took 2 weeks from the time I ordered it to the time it arrived at my doorstep. So just factor that in. And if you place a reorder and they say, well, it's not time yet, and you can say, well, I heard you were running 2 weeks to get my order. And they really do say it can take up to 14 days to receive your order. I mean, for you to receive your order, but it's never really taken that long before now with all this hoopla. So that's, I'm getting like a couple shots ahead. And sometimes in these compounded vials, you get more than 4 shots worth out of it.
Usually you do.
Sometimes there's extra in there, usually. So that's an extra shot. And then if I order an extra week early, that's an extra shot. And if you do that multiple times, then you've built up.
And if you can order
built
every
up some
2 to
extra.
3 weeks, if you do that a couple of times, you'll get a month ahead
Yeah.
because you'll pick up an extra week each time.
Yeah.
That, and I have a prescription for Zepbound. So
Yeah.
we've been buying 15 milligram pens for Zepbound for me. And
Sporadically, because they're expensive.
They're expensive, but I've been using compounded, so that's just my reserve. Those have bud dates that are a long way out.
I think it was 2 years out.
Yeah, they don't go bad at all.
He had gone to the doctor, and the doctor just wrote him a 15 milligram prescription for Zepbound and sent it to CVS. And I mean, it just said pending. And then he got a text like before we went to Arizona that said, "Your prescription is ready. It's $550." And I'm like,
so that one just automatically filled?
That's never really happened before. So we said, well, we better go pick it up because better to have it and, save it. And you're on the 15, right. You're taking a 15 milligram dose right now.
Correct. So. And I will probably be on 15 for a while.
Till you get to your goal.
Yep. And honestly, in talking to the doctor, I think even after my goal for a little while, I'll probably be on 15 for, he said, because he said he had found, he typically wanted people to be on it for a couple more months and then start stepping down. He said, you just kind of don't want to bounce too quickly.
Yeah.
He's like,
you don't want to hit it 1 week and then drop the next week.
Oh, I dropped it. And then you're like back up. He's like, let your body settle where it's supposed to be.
Yeah, that's good. That's good advice. I mean, as good as any.
My local physician is really great guy, reads a lot. We talk a lot about all of this, and he'll tell you they're just figuring it out. He's very open to the conversation, which I appreciate.
Yeah. I did a interview with Lori and Susie, 2 women I'd interviewed previously separately. We did a 3-person panel discussion on maintenance, which you can go and watch that video if you're interested in our thoughts on maintenance. And we each had some different thoughts on maintenance. My thought was that I will be taking some form of a GLP-1 forever, long term. Susie's thought was more of she wanted to eventually not take the medication. And Lori was somewhere, I guess, in the middle, more leaning toward taking the medication long term. So Lori takes her shot every 9 days. Susie's taking a 2.5 milligram shot every 30 days or 28 days. And I'm still taking a weekly shot, but this whole colonoscopy thing is...
So that was our first panel. We're looking at doing some more panels. If any of you would like to be on a panel or have thoughts about ideas for panels, really, we could do one every week if we wanted to. So there's a lot of opportunities, and there's a lot of approaches to dietary needs, to menopause, to maintenance, to weightlifting. Yeah. There's a million topics. So if there's something you're interested in, please reach out.
You can send me an email to Laraine@thedownsides.org, and you have to spell my name right. It's Laraine @thedownsides.org. Yeah, just send me an email. Say, hey, I'd like to be on a panel or just a single interview about my journey, and I'll send you a link to our calendar. And you don't have to write like a big, long dissertation on why you think you should be picked, because pretty much you send me an email, we're going to set you up with a time.
I mean, give us a little background.
You can give me the background, but some people are just, they're writing such long descriptions of their journey, which is great, but you really don't have to do that. Just send me a quick little snippet of, maybe what you've lost and what drug you're taking, and just to give me a little bit of an idea.
And we'll honestly, there's no right person for that. So anywhere you are in your journey, Lorraine's going to interview somebody who hasn't even started yet in the next week or two. So any point in the journey, everybody has those same concerns. We're going to learn something from everybody different. Let us know.
If you want to go back and watch them, we call the series The Downsides Dish. Christopher's interviewed a few men.
And I'm looking for more men. Everybody, I get that request. Why haven't you interviewed more men? And I'm like, well, would you like to do one?
And some people say, oh, no, I want to wait till I get to my goal weight. Or, oh, no, my mom doesn't know that I'm on this. And you know what? That's fine. So, but yeah, we're always looking for people to be on The Downsides Dish.
Absolutely. And then if you haven't visited our website, thedownsized.org, go check it out, sign up for our email list. that just lets us be able to stay in touch with you in case something happens, right? We've seen TikTok take people down. We've seen Facebook take groups down, and it makes sure that we're connected. And as we look at planning for the next year, we've got a lot of cool stuff that we're talking about. So we'll make sure to keep you informed on what's going on. You will also find there a resource page that has a link to Laraine's shot tracker, her weekly tracker there. That's absolutely free. You can do that, as well as links to, you can report on the FDA shortage list, to Eli Lilly, to Novo Nordisk, all kinds of fun stuff there. And it has our GLP-1 companion product store, which Laraine has curated a whole set of stuff she likes.
Stuff that I use, stuff that I like. We're Amazon affiliates, so if you click through a link, we make a small commission, so thank you very much. But it's just stuff like my fiber gummies that I take, my Mago 7 that I use for constipation, Element electrolytes, which I really like, and some other stuff like that.
And then if you haven't, again, already, make sure to like and subscribe. Just make sure that YouTube knows you liked it, and they'll tell other people about us. So we appreciate that.
Yes, please like and subscribe.
And that's us for today in our Downsized Weekly Weigh-In. I'm Christopher Durham.
I'm Laraine Durham.
And we are the Downsized.